Hello, class. My name is Matthew Risco, and today I'm going to be talking about drumming as a microculture. From a young age, I got into drumming. I love playing the drums. I learned from my grandfather, who was a drummer, and this is something that I've kept with me in my life for a while now. And today I want to present to you guys why I think drumming is a microculture. So, from the introduction, drums are one of the oldest instruments around, and honestly, you've probably played drums at some part in your life. And I'm not just talking about it has to be a drum set and it has to be with sticks like these, but I'm saying, when you were a kid and you were playing with, the kitchen utensils and you're playing with pots and pans, or even every day when you're just tapping on your desk, tapping your pencil, that is a form of drumming as well. And this is a microculture that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. A microculture that's still building today, especially with music that changes every few years. So, with music changing, it allows for a microculture like this to expand and have more people and more opportunities because there's different types of music that's coming out with different styles of drumming. So, it attracts new people and a new audience. And drumming is a microculture worth mentioning because of how long this community has been around for, and because this is still one of the top instruments in the world. And this is true. Every song that you guys hear or listen to has some form of drum in it. And maybe it's acoustic, maybe it's electric, or it might be with synths, but there are drums in basically almost every song as a basic just beat in the background. So this is an instrument that's still relevant, it's still one of the oldest, and it's still around today. Now, let me just go into some of the history of drumming and just give you more information about drumming. Drumming started in 5500 BC in China and were actually they were made with alligator skin as the top layer for the drum of basically the head of the drum. Later, it traveled throughout other countries and went with other countries in Asia and then Europe and then down to Africa before coming to the United States in around 1500 AD from the African slave trade. It is a skill that requires a lot of time, practice, rhythm, and repetition. This is something that you are not going to learn overnight. You might not even learn the basics in a week or so, but this is something that over time, it's one of those things that over time you will get better at no matter what. Honestly, that's the one thing I will say to build someone's confidence who might be starting. Just keep going. It's going to get easier over time, and I truly, truly believe that. And today, with my demonstration and my presentation, I will be discussing the values, characteristics, and behavior of this microculture. So let's start with the value of this culture. So drumming is a creative instrument. This is as creative as an instrument as you can get. There's many different drums to use. You can tune them differently to the way that you like to, so you can play different sounds. And there's no limit to a drum set pieces wise. Some people like to have basic drum, which is a snare. There's two toms, and then there's a thing called a floor tom. So that's four pieces, and then they have a hi hat and just one cymbal. So that is usually known as a six-piece set. Or some people like to go crazy and get a bunch of different pieces. The cool thing about drumming is that it allows for creation and creativity. It allows you to be as creative as you want with your pieces. It allows you, maybe you want it to sound more bass and more low, so you could tune them into the way that you prefer them. And the ability that you're gonna need for this is coordination, simple coordination, learning how to coordinate not just your hands but your legs as well, and patience. Learn to be patient. Patience is going to work out for you. Trust me, this is something that you are going to need. With the community, I mean, music, this is something that we all share within the community. I mean, we all love music, even outside of just drumming as well. Even different types of music, even we get appreciated because maybe there's the drummer is playing it very well on the song. Even if it's a song that we don't like, we as drummers can at least appreciate the drumming work that's done on a certain song or just a certain musical piece. And passionate. The one thing about this community is that we are very passionate about drums. Honestly, kind of obsessive, most of us. We really just love drumming, and it's a lot of us, it's kind of our life in a way. Even when we have work and school, this is something that is always something that we do outside of our main priorities in life. And just talking more about drumming, itself is an art form. This is something you can express yourself, be creative with, and really just again express who you truly are. Drumming is also known as a stress reliever, according to scientists. It's an outlet for other mental health and internal relief in your life. And also, like I've been saying this whole time, self expression. These are other contributing factors of why we as drummers value drumming and why it should be valued as a microculture. Some of the characteristics, really, anyone could be a drummer. I would say there mostly aren't any certain characteristics, but there are some stereotypes that I have heard because I don't really fit the quote unquote drummer build. I've heard that before. So I've heard some stereotypes that people have told me that I don't really fit for drumming. So here's a few that I've listed. Physical characteristics. People stereotype men as drummers, but I've met some really good female drummers. That's another thing is I have female friends who are drummers, and when you kind of tell people that that they are drummers or they tell people, it's a very shocking reaction. People do not expect them to be drummers. Drummers usually have long hair. This is something that I've heard before because I really don't have the longest hair. A lot of people just assume you're a drummer, you have long hair, and you're just shaking it around while you're playing. Not always true. I will say this. The one thing I've noticed with drummers, if it's a guy, it's usually a bigger guy, a more heavily masked guy, whether it's muscle or not, or it's a very small guy, and there's almost no in between. So that's something I have as a observation of my own, just from being around other drummers as well. And we're also stereotyped as loud people. I'm usually not a loud person. I'm usually very quiet. So when I tell people I'm a drummer, that's one thing I've heard before is, oh, like I expect you to be a wilder person, a crazier person, but that's not really true, honestly. Most of us are pretty quiet people and just to ourselves. And other characteristics that you need to have for drumming is stamina. Stamina is huge. You're going to have to need stamina to keep going over time. This is something that could be easy to build. Just take a drumstick and just keep playing it over and over again, slowly, slowly, slowly. Maybe start building up a little bit. And as you start going faster, 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 just keep going until you can't go anymore. Coordinated rhythm, those are things I talked about before. Having a sense of time, because a lot of times with drumming, you're trying to get a sense of where to play certain things, and being able to have a good sense of time and have a good sense of time of where to fill certain parts of the drum, either to a song or just maybe a song you're trying to learn, that will be important. Being able to use your limbs on different measures. So again, so I might be playing this just straight through, but then I might have to go. So you see what I'm trying to say is that you have to kind of teach yourself how to play, and this has to go with coordination as well. You have to teach yourself how to play different things at different times using different measurements for each different part that you are controlling in the drum set. I know it sounds difficult, but over time you will eventually learn it. And again, being passionate is important, and also being willing to learn and being patient. Again, it's not going to come over time. Being willing to learn and trying to go the extra effort will pay off for you in the long run. The behavior, I will say this, understand to use the kit before even learning the sticks. So I mean by that is just sit at the drum kit while you're trying to learn and just play it. So if you have a four-piece set in front of you, so one will be a snare, two toms, and then a floor tom. Even if you want two sticks, even use your hands, just go around hitting it. Understand what each sound is. If you have a cymbal, let's just say right here in the right corner, hit the cymbal if you want, but go slow and just feel comfortable. Make sure you're hitting it. Maybe just go 1 2, just 1 2, 1 2, 1 2, all around. Just keep doing that until you get faster and feel more comfortable. Then once you feel confident, learn how to use the sticks. And this is harder than most people realize because a lot of people think you want to hold it, you want to hold it very aggressively, very strongly. But you honestly don't, because when you hold it as strong, you don't have as much control into it, which means you can't go as fast as you might want it to. You might want to, or you might have to. So honestly, you want to kind of hold it like this. You kind of want your fingers going down like here. You want your thumb at the top. Sometimes people do it like this, where they have the finger above that. I usually like to go down here. And honestly, it's just, and you want to not hold it as hard as well. You don't want to hold it as strongly because then you won't get, if I hold it like this and I hold it very strongly, right? I don't have much control. It can't bounce back. So when you hold it, with a less of a tight grip, it allows for it to bounce back a little bit better, which means you could go faster than you can with a tighter grip. And I'll just say start playing slowly. Don't try anything crazy. Just keep trying to learn and just get more comfortable. And once you feel fine with that, we're gonna start. You would start in a measurement of 4. So basically, I would say going down. So just keep it slowly on the hi hat the whole time, just like this. And then you would hit the snare on counts 2 and 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I can't show you my legs right now, but on counts 1 and 3, you would hit your bass drum with your foot. So it would go 1, so that would be my foot, 2, and then 3 would be my foot again, and then 4 would be the snare. That's one of the most simplest things to learn with the drums, and that's usually the first thing that they will teach you when you're starting to learn. And once you're able to get that, just keep practicing that over and over again. You will eventually just become way more comfortable at it. That's something that's going to take some time, but you will eventually learn it pretty quickly than you might realize. The communication in this, honestly, we as drummers are able to communicate with drums, believe it or not. And it's not like everyday communication. I can't just go to the freaking mall talking with a friend. No. But if we're at a drum set, there are certain things that we know and we understand. So if you ask me a yes or no question and I hit the floor tom, which is, you know, a very low a very low uh has a low bass on it, so it's, pretty heavy sounding, that's going to mean no. But if I hit it with a snare, that means yes in our communication. Another thing is with the hi-hat, if someone's talking and I just uh s- uh hitting it and I keep closing it, that's called barking. If I just keep doing that as they're talking, that kind of means I want you to be quiet. It's simple as that. Or if I just go into a crazy drum fill and I'm just playing everything fast and crazy and everything, and it's just loud, that's another way I kind of want you to shut up. Some of the words that we use are choke, which is when you have a cymbal that's basically hitting it and grabbing it right away, you're choking it. Another one is barking, where when you have the hi hat, you open it as you're hitting it and then closing it with your foot. So it kind of gives like a barking sound. Swing and straight are just different styles of playing. So sometimes it'll say, hey, I want you to play with kind of a swinging technique, or straight just kind of means play straight how you should play. Swing means you add a little bit of kind of like a side angle technique to the way you're playing the drums. A rudiment is simple notes and basically simple things to play on the drum. They'll teach you, not really, they're all simple. There's different levels to it. But if you started taking a drum class, they would teach you things called simple rudiments, which are just simple things, kind of what I just taught you before about the time measurement of 4. That is a rudiment. So playing what I taught you about, playing the hi-hat, the snare, and playing the bass drum with your foot, that is a simple rudiment in drumming. And the other one's a drum fill. Drum fill usually comes as points in the song where maybe it's kind of like a drum solo in a way, but not really, and it's just kind of drumming in between parts of a song that is different from what I'm usually playing on the song. That sounds very confusing the way I'm explaining it, but it's kind of parts of the song that doesn't sound like the drum should go to, and it's almost a kind of like a filler. That's why it's called drum fill. It's basically filling a drum part in between a song. And overall, understanding how to play the kit is just more important than any sort of language. You do not need to know the language right away. You do not need to know these words and definitions I'm teaching you right away. Learning the kit is the major first step for learning all of this and any of this. And here are some important facts about drumming. I mean, drumming is still highly regarded as one of the most popular instruments. You're going to hear drumming in any song, like I told you before. I have a nephew right now who's 3 years old who loves drums and wants to learn. So I'm teaching him, which is another generation. So drumming isn't going out of style anytime soon. This is going to be around for hundreds and hundreds of years down the line. Drums were also used for long distance communication in Africa for a while. The overall design of drums have looked the same always, believe it or not. It's just different materials throughout the years. It was always just a circle. The only thing that really changed was the design of the heads, which the drum head is what you hit on, and overall just getting better material for the overall drum, which they used to be a lot more just like kind of flakier before, and they weren't as sturdy as they are now. The drum kit, the overall standard kit, became popular in New Orleans during the 1920s, which I believe was around that jazz era. Drumming is a great exercise for weight loss, believe it or not. Scientists have said that drumming is right up there with walking and jogging regularly. So if you're a person who likes walking, jogging outside, this is something that if you wanted to take up drumming would give you the same exercise with just a little more intensity playing. So once you learn and you're going fast and you're able to drum quickly and build confidence in this, then over time, I mean, if you need it as a weight loss, it is a great exercise to do. And drumming is huge for mental health. Like I said before, I think I said it with stress, showing signs of decreasing in stress, anxiety, improving your overall mood. It improves your focus and also shows signs of reducing depression. And another fun fact is drumming can change your brain activity, believe it or not. Drummers' brains are surprisingly less active while performing than non-drummers. This is because their brains are more efficient. And it's because usually when you're doing an activity with drummers, we're not really thinking too much. We're not really, our minds honestly aren't doing a lot of work. We're not really stressing. We're just kind of doing it. So I feel like it saves a lot of energy and stress and maintenance on our brain, which allows for it to be more efficient in other things in life. And for my conclusion, I just want to say today I got to show you all that drumming has to offer and how it is a microculture and how it is one of the most important ones with many different benefits, weight loss benefits, cognitive health benefits, also just a simple skill if you want to pick up. This is an instrument that is not going out of style anytime soon. This is something that's going to be around for a while and a microculture that has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And that's why I think it was today to teach you guys how important of a microculture drumming is. Thank you.